Hello, hello. Welcome to the John Katz Show, episode number 6. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching, downloading, subscribing, all that. I truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Just want to do a quick little Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Quick little Tuesday night episode on aliens. No, aliens. I want to talk about aliens. I've been obsessed with aliens my whole life. The idea of aliens. And it's actually been in the news lately, so definitely a pertinent topic. I don't know if people follow that, or it's like the kind of thing nobody really seems to be able to wrap their brain around. You guys tell me. I don't know. It seems like either maybe people are bored by it or they're scared of it. It's like half the people are bored, half the people are scared. By the way, if you see me wincing, my nipple hurts. No, speaking of, maybe I'll start off each episode with a health tip. What was it last time? Vitamin D. So this time it'll be get your skin screened. Dermatologist. What do they call it? Full body screening? My wife will laugh because it took me 20 years to go. But I went a few months ago. Got scanned. Had to get a couple things scraped. It's no big deal. I joke that it's a surgery, but listen, if you're like me or live in Florida and you laid in the sun like we used to, anyone listening from high school, y'all know we used to bake. What do we use? The Hawaiian Tropic Zero SPF. We hit the tanning salon and hit the beach. It catches up with you. So it's no big deal. Again, not cancer or anything. They catch it early. They find these things. They take tests on them. They scrape a little piece and they go, oh, maybe down the line it could turn into something. Let's just dig it out to be safe. It's worth an hour of your time. Save your life, maybe. Health tip of the day. Okay, so on to aliens. You'd think aliens would be like the biggest story, right? I don't know if you guys have been following. By the way, these stories started coming out years ago. I saw, what was it? Maybe like 5-10 years ago, CNN had some of these pilots on. These pilots, but by the way, a military pilot, a Navy pilot, is like, I don't know if you guys know any Navy pilots. They're like, these are like the most sober-minded, clear-headed, level-headed, serious dudes you'll ever meet. They're not going to go around telling alien abduction stories. And now there's footage too. These guys have been seeing these, crafts, unidentified crafts off like San Diego and stuff for years now. And they'll tell you, flat out, the way they behave is not known to this world. We don't even know of, theoretically, a technology that would allow these crafts to behave the way they seem to be behaving. It's very mind-boggling. So the New York Times recently came out with a story, and they're talking about maybe they had actually a source, I believe, at the Pentagon saying that they recovered craft, or that they recovered technology from fallen craft, and that we're in possession of it. Who knows? We could have found this at an archaeological dig, from thousands of years ago. Who knows? We're in possession of something. There are UFO, files, highly classified UFO files. But maybe people just think, it doesn't affect my life. Because it really, look, let's say you found out tomorrow that there was, we were in possession of part of a craft that we knew didn't come from here. It's not going to change your life all that much, really. I mean, if you're worried about your job, your family, or, responsibilities, might scare people a little bit. But to me, the only question, in my opinion, and a lot of scientists will say this too, there's really no question if there's other life out in the universe, in the known universe. The only real question should be, have we been visited by this life? That's at least debatable, in my opinion, until we see proof. I'm going to go ahead and say it's possible, probable. In my personal opinion, I say probable, but who knows? But just look at the universe. It's hard to wrap your brain around. Let me scoot up. It's hard to wrap your brain around some of these numbers. When you start talking about, even when you start talking about like a trillion, like to think of a trillion, most people don't have a reference point. We can mathematically say, okay, a trillion, 1,000 billion or whatever is a trillion, but we can't really process what that means. So You start getting into these numbers in the universe. Now you're talking light years and stuff, right? I mean, by the way, our time, what we consider time, our construct of time is an earthly construct. It's based on how us rotating and on our axis, and then, for our days, and then revolving around the sun for our years. But once you're in outer space and time are the same thing, right? That construct goes away. You're talking about, like I said, light years. Now, light year is if you're traveling at the speed of light, which we can't even theoretically get close with what we know. But let's say you could travel at the speed of light. It's 186,000 miles per second, right? That means you can wrap around the Earth 7 times in 1 second. Take you 20 hours to fly to Tokyo or something, right? But this is 1 second, 7 trips around the whole planet. Okay, so the universe is 92 billion light years across, right? So you say, well, how could it be 92 billion light years across, right? The Earth's only, 13 point something billion years old. You start getting into some weird stuff. I'm not going to get into it on this show because that's a whole nother wormhole. We could do a whole episode on that. But it basically boils down to the fact that everything's always expanding, constantly expanding. The universe is expanding. The light wavelengths expand as they get out further. You start getting into relativity and things like that. It gets really, really bizarre. But we can see 46 billion light years into the known universe. Thus, the universe has a known universe. It's important to say known universe. Is 92 billion light years wide. So factor all that in, right? You've now got a 92 billion light year wide universe. That means if you traveled at the speed of light, it'll take you 92 billion years to cross that thing. So think about that for a second. Think about it in earthly terms. If you started traveling at the speed of light when Jesus was born, right? Like 2,000 years ago, and you were still going today, you wouldn't even have made it out of your own backyard, right? 2,000 years at the speed of light, which we can't even, you'd be in your backyard still. You could have started traveling the speed of light when dinosaurs were around, 265 billion years ago. Million? Excuse me. I keep saying billion a lot. 265 million years ago. Still be going today. You'd be like in the same city. You like just made it out of the neighborhood or something. These distances are astronomical, right? So for anyone to look at that and go, nah, there's no other life out there. Just us. All that wasted real estate, all those billions and billions and billions of light years just for our tiny little planet here. Just us here on Earth. I mean, look, we've got our solar system, right, that we know of with our 8 planets. 9. That's it. Look, we don't even know. When I was growing up, it was 9 planets. Then they kicked Pluto out. Now you get 8. Then you get all these other dwarf planets. Now they're saying we might have a giant dark planet hiding somewhere on the edge of the solar system. So, okay. So we have our solar system with our 9 planets. We're part of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy alone has like 200-300 billion more stars. Just like our sun, right? 200-300 more billion just in our galaxy. Then get this. Now there's like 2 trillion more galaxies. And there's another example. They were just saying up until a few years ago that there was like, I think 200 billion galaxies. And then they upped it to 2 trillion. Just multiply it by 10. There's really 10 times more galaxies than we thought. Each of those galaxies has hundreds of billions of stars just like us. And we're not even the biggest. So there's ones bigger, some with hundreds of millions. So you've got trillions of galaxies, hundreds of millions, billions, and trillions of stars in each one. Each one could have planets, does have planets. We don't know about if they're conducive to life or whatever like that, or life that we know. But and all that, you're going to go, yeah, just us here on Earth. So again, my question is, have they been here? I would guess we probably, look, you probably would have been easier to visit thousands of years ago when we were primitive, right? You could have like landed a ship. They always say we helped build the pyramids and stuff like that. Who knows? If you would have landed all those years ago and like made yourself known to these primitive people, what would be the worst they could do? Start throwing rocks around and stuff. Now imagine if they landed today and just came out of the ship, we'd be setting off nukes and blowing each other up. I think we got to get, excuse me, eased into that one a little bit. But it just doesn't make any sense to me that all that real estate, all of that, space. But here's what they're figuring out, right? If we have been visited, you go, how would they get here? How would they travel? Even if they could go the speed of light, how are they going to travel those distances? And they wouldn't. And now you're getting into other stuff, which is, we've discovered everyone's heard of dark matter, meaning what we previously thought was just dead, empty space out there is actually fabric. It's a matter. It's dark matter. You can't see it, but everything's woven together. So take a piece of paper. They always show this as an example. I'm going to steal whoever figured this out. But if you take a piece of paper, let's say this is Earth on the right. This is some other galaxy far away on the left. You'll never get there. It's hundreds of millions of light years, let's say. But now if you can bend it and manipulate it, you can bring those 2 points together. Right? And we don't even understand gravity, by the way. People think that we know what gravity is. I mean, we can measure it and we know how it behaves, and we can say, okay, if certain size or mass of something, it's going to have a certain amount of gravitational pull. We shouldn't even say pull anymore, right? They used to think we were being pulled down, larger an object that pulls you in, but now they say probably not, probably being pushed. It's this dark matter is probably pushing you down. And then the larger the object, the more you're being pushed down. And again, that's how these pilots describe, those pilots that see these things moving, they're saying that the ships themselves don't seem to be moving. They seem to be manipulating the area around them. And it would be consistent with what we've theorized, that if you were going to have a ship that could travel, through the universe like that, from one solar system to another or one galaxy to another, you would have to be able to manipulate the fabric of space-time. You couldn't do it. I mean, I shouldn't say couldn't because, again, our understanding is limited. You never know. I don't rule anything out, but that would certainly seem to be the case. John Podesta? We have UFO files that are top secret classified files. Right now, there's got to be something in them, right? They wouldn't have them top secret if there wasn't something in them. John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, it was like the one silver lining. If she would have won, I was like, at least we'll get to see these UFO files. The guy's obsessed with it too, right? He would have been like chief of staff or something and pushed to put him out. But, we really should have, the world's greatest minds, working on analyzing, looking at this tech. I highly doubt it's what I always say about the federal government. I highly doubt they understand it. They're probably in the process of trying to figure it out, but it shouldn't just belong to our government, right? It's our government. It should be available to everybody. Again, assuming people, I don't know. I had a lot more faith before Corona and all. People might not freak out, but I don't know anymore. Buy ammo. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't know what I'm saying. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But my faith in people's ability to rationalize and stuff, I don't know. Maybe just release it to certain people. Like you have to put in the code if you really want to know or something like that. It should be our biggest story. The New York Times literally comes out and says that the Pentagon is in possession of tech from a downed aircraft. And it's like, no one even heard it. And then the Pentagon says, hey, there is something to it. We'll be putting out a statement soon. I don't think they put anything out yet. But they basically didn't deny it. They basically said, yeah, we'll be releasing more information shortly. So there's something. Look, we're in possession of something. We know a hell of a lot more. There's something in those files. But my own personal theory, as long as we're at it, if I had to guess, just because we don't know what's out there, right, doesn't mean they don't know about us. Look at how limited we are. Like we've had electricity for 200 years. That's it. We barely had computers for a minute. For 2 seconds, we've had real computers for like not even when I was a kid. And now we've been on the moon. Now we're sending people to Mars. We're talking about like terraforming Mars to match our atmosphere. Like this is like, we're already trying to expand to these places. Imagine if we lived another 1,000 years, another 1,000,000 years, another 1,000,000,000 years. There's got to be life forms out there, excuse me, that have lived this long. And the stuff, the tech that they would develop and the understanding that they would have. So what I know about civilization, or what we know, what we see about, colonization, civilization, it would seem like we're part of some larger network, just because we don't know. And if they wanted to do us harm, they probably would have done us harm already, I would think. Us little cavemen here on Earth. You know what I mean? But it would seem like we're part of a larger deal. And to know what that deal is, I mean, isn't that the ultimate question? And these people that go, there's no aliens. Really? You rule that out? I always go like life's not strange enough. The fact that we're spinning around right now 1,000 miles an hour and we're whirling around the sun 100,000 miles an hour, and I'm talking to you through some device, that I can even have these thoughts to begin with, or that any of this even exists. We just go about our lives like, nah, that shit's too weird for me. People don't like to think too hard on that. Even, you start thinking about that stuff, it kind of makes your brain hurt. You always get to like a point where like it kind of starts to make sense, and then like you just can't grab onto it. It's like trying to remember a dream or something. So I don't know. But if we live to be that long, if we live that long, that's what these other cultures are now, right? Doubtful they'd be like, flesh and bone. We're already putting implants and weird devices in ourselves. If we're around another 1,000,000 years, how much of us not going to be technology? We will merge with technology if we live long enough. That's inevitable. And maybe they're future versions of us. Maybe we were colonized here. Maybe they did what we talk about doing, and they reached out and colonized here a long time ago. Who knows? Again, I don't rule anything out. I would urge everybody to just kind of like be very open-minded with all this stuff, because you start answering these questions and it answers a whole lot of mysteries about our own lives. And you can never have enough perspective and understanding of what we're doing here and all that kind of. It could only, in the long run, it could only help us, I think. So I'm very, very curious to see if they declassify these files at some point. And I'm really curious to see what the Pentagon says, hopefully in like a few days or a week. So that's basically it. I'll wind it down. It's my rant on aliens, my thoughts on aliens. I should be coming back in a couple days with a guest, trying to line it up. We're talking about like the economy, finances, where you should be putting your money right now, all those kinds of fun, useful tips. So I really, 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 really appreciate everybody listening and tuning in, downloading, subscribing, all of it. You guys are amazing. This is just a very quick Tuesday nighter episode. I want to give you something fun, and I will be back in 2 days. So thank you guys so much. Peace.